welcome everybody to the third and final Pokemon in the sort of psychic month that went on after the 10th Pokemon of the Week video special. This week it's Reuniclus, number 579 in the National Pokedex, and is in the OU tier, as was one of our previous two psychics, Alakazam. It's got three abilities. It has Overcoat. Overcoat means that Hail and Sandstorm don't affect Reuniclus in the slightest. You're never going to see that ability though, because its other two are far better. Magic Guard, you may recall Alakazam has as well, means that recoil damage, weather damage, burn, poison damage all don't do anything to Reuniclus, and its other ability, Regenerator, means it heals a third of its health on switching out, so that can make a Pokemon last a lot longer. Its base stats are very interesting. The first thing you'll notice more than anything else is that it is incredibly slow at base 30. But to balance this out, it has base 125 special attack and a whopping 110 HP. Its defences aren't too bad either. Being pure psychic type like the previous two entries, Bug, Dark and Ghost are all super effective, whereas Psychic and Fighting are resisted. Despite the fact that Reuniclus looks like a Pokemon that would have Levitate, it does not, so it does not have an immunity to ground. Now, I've mentioned this Pokemon a few times already, but just as a quick graphic, Reuniclus is not Alakazam. They play completely differently. Incidentally, if you click the Week 11 Alakazam button there, you can go to Week 11 if you missed it. So any references to Alakazam may be similar in move pools, but don't be fooled, they play very differently. Now that we understand this, let's go to the first set, and it's the set that's probably the most common, and it's the Calm Mind set. Being a Reuniclus, you're going to be pretty slow, so there's no point investing in your speed, and what you should do instead is invest in your bulk and your ability to survive hits while you dish them out. As a result, the EV spread is maximum for HP, maximum for defense, with a defense plus nature, and the other four going special defense. Calm Mind boosts your special attack and special defense one stage apiece per usage, which means your special defense will go up even without EV investment. The cover goes in perfect tandem with Calm Mind, meaning you can heal off increasingly weak special attacks on you as you Calm Mind up. Your two attacks you have probably seen on the previous two Psychic sets, but Psychic is probably your best choice. Bear in mind that in OU, Sandstorm is reasonably common, so Rock types will have higher special defense. So Pokemon such as Terrakion, again, are much more likely to survive a Psychic than a Psyshock. And your other move to go alongside your Psychic Stab of choice is Focus Blast. It hits all the Steel types that would normally screw you over. Do bear in mind that it is 70% accurate though, so don't be reliant upon it. Bear in mind that it also has very limited PP, so if you come across a Pokemon with pressure, you've got to be very careful. One thing I have noted at the bottom of this page, even with your defense and HP fully invested, it's still not a very good idea to take on Pokemon that get stab on their U-turns. Scizor comes to mind in particular, but even non-stab U-turns are not recommended because they're going to be able to switch into a Pokemon that can deal with Reuniclus. Also, there is one other thing to note that I haven't put there, but Reuniclus with this investment isn't quite as afraid of Pursuit as every other Psychic type in the tier that hasn't got a Steel subtype. Your maximum defense and HP does mean you can survive a Pursuit so long as you don't switch out without much of an issue, but it does require you to have to kill in one hit, so it is slightly luck based given your Focus Blast accuracy. Magic Guard is your ability because you obviously don't want to suffer from Toxic in particular, and the choice of item, I've highlighted Leftovers because if it was me personally, that is what I would use. But you've got to bear in mind Magic Guard means the recoil damage from Life Orb is non-existent. So it all depends whether you want to go really offensive or sort of more gradual, make sure you don't die approach. It all based upon what your team's like and what you need. There's not a right answer. The second set is a set you don't really see too often on Reuniclus. There's a main reason for this. Pure Psychic isn't a particularly brilliant defensive type on its own. It's not terrible, but it's not great. Having a resistance to fighting in the OU tier is very handy, but that's pretty much the only key resistance you do have. Anyway, you have your reflect and light screen, just like we did on the God of War set last week, if we recall. However, the advantage that Reuniclus has over God of War is that not only does it have more bulk to begin with, it also has access to recover, which means you can heal off and use this again and again. And much more importantly, you've got Regenerator as your ability. You can use Magic Guard for this. The reason I recommend Regenerator is because likely what you're going to be doing is setting up a screen and then switching out. You might not get a chance to use Recover. So having an ability to heal yourself without having to use Recover is very useful indeed. Your attack move of choice though is very interesting, because Reuniclus is quite often spotted in rain teams. So as a result, that's why Thunder is on that list. Thunder in the rain gets 100% accuracy, so that is always an alternative, and it will mean that you can take on things like Skarmory and not be completely stuck against it. Obviously you can choose between your two normal stab attacks. That is always an option on Reuniclus. Reuniclus's move pool for attacking is, well, it's quite unfortunate really. I would love to show you a physical Reuniclus, but you just can't do it with its base stats the way they are. It gets quite a lot of moves. It gets all the elemental punches, for example, so it is a bit of a shame. But I do think of this as a way, as basically an improvement over the God of War dual screen set I showed you last week. Remember to always equip Light Clay, because that means your Reflect and Light screen will last 8 turns rather than 5. Obviously that makes it much more effective. If you do decide to go with a different item, definitely don't bother going for Regenerator, go for Magic Guard, because you'll need to just be more sturdy if you're going for constant usage of screens. The third set is, well, it's not particularly common, and I'll explain why. Trick Room is a move that is far better in double or triple battles, and there's one very simple reason for this. There are more Pokemon that can utilise your Trick Room in a double or triple battle on your own side. When you use Trick Room in single battles, you've got to spend a turn doing it, and then 4 turns later, after you've done 4 attacks or 4 more moves, it's going to run out, and then you're going to become super slow again. Trick Room, just in case you don't understand what it is a move that reverses everybody's speed. It doesn't change the physical speed number, so if Gyro Ball was doing a huge amount with your slow Pokemon, it's not a Reuniclus can't use Gyro Ball, but if you had a really slow Pokemon that can learn it, for example Fortress, your Gyro Ball power stays the same whether it's in Trick Room or not. So Trick Room will make your opposing very fast sweepers, for example an Alakazam, very much useless until it ends up being removed from play or it runs out. Trick Room is great in tandem with a low speed IV. The reason speed IV in the list there is not at 0 is because you can't get a power 70 hidden power based upon a 0 speed IV. The IVs I've given you there are for hidden power fire. Hidden power fire is perfect for taking out opposing Fortresses, Ferrothorns, without you having to rely on your hopelessly inaccurate Focus Blast. You could alternatively go for hidden power fighting, but I feel it's kind of mute. Your other choices are obviously your Psychic Stab move of choice again, and that basically has kind of a 50-50 on which one you would pick. I personally usually go for Psyshock simply because Blissey's will take you on even with Focus Blast, so it's usually a safer bet. Your EV spread, I would recommend going for maximum HP, and depending on how offensive you can go, I would recommend maximum special attack as well, but you can bulk out a bit if you feel the need to. Life Orb combined with Magic Guard means no recoil, so that is basically 30% extra power boost for free, so I would take that on. And the Quiet Nature boosts your special attack while making your speed even lower, which makes Trick Room more effective. I hope you found this useful. We're at the end of the Psychic segment now, so I wonder what next week is going to be. Stroke, chin, rub, rub. Anyway, see you all later, hope you enjoyed the video. If you enjoyed the video you've just seen, please join my Facebook group and follow me on Twitter for the latest news.